the Sofa with Esther. Every Sunday, a place where legends and stars hang out, sharing untold stories and unforgettable moments. So get cozy and relax into inspiring conversations that you won't hear anywhere else.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. Welcome to another On the Sofa with Esther. Well, today with me, I am thrilled to welcome Owen Clater onto my sofa. He's from Becks and Clates, and it's not yet Becks and Clates. Yeah, a dynamic marketing agency recognized as one of the fastest growing in Hull, and they say Hull and Yorkshire. A marketing specialist, a young entrepreneur, public speaker, and self-proclaimed luck magnet. Owen is passionate about helping brands grow and thrive. Recently, Owen was shortlisted for the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Great British Entrepreneur Awards and Community. Is that correct? Yeah. An incredible recognition of his dedication, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit. With ambitious plans to expand into York, Manchester, Leeds, and New York, Owen is on an exciting journey, and we can't wait to hear his insights, experiences, and tips for success. So, as they do in America, Owen, welcome. Welcome onto my platform.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. You can tell that you are very grounded in who you are and where you're going and what you want to do. You've got that essence and presence about you. When did you sort of really discover where you wanted to go? Because you are really moving forward in leaps and bounds. So when did you realize, actually, I've got this drive, I've got this thing in me to be a successful entrepreneur?
I think it all started when I actually worked at Subway. So I worked at Subway for about a year in my early days, and just kind of watching everyone else in the job, it was quite depressing.
Mhm.
And the one piece of advice they all gave me was get out of here as soon as you can. And I kind of got in the mindset that I was trading my time for money. And when I
Mm.
realized that wealthy people trade their money for other people's time, that's when it all sort of clicked for me. And I started doing marketing. And for example, I'd get a website deal in. I wouldn't actually do the website, I'd find someone else to do it. So I'd pay for someone else's time. And I kind of got in that mindset of swapping it around where I wasn't trading my time for money, I was trading my money for someone else's time. And I think that's when it all changed for me. And that was the turning point for me when I really understood that concept and how it works. Yeah.
And what age were you when you had that sort of epiphany, I would say?
It was, I'd say it was about the age of 16 to 17, that sort of age range.
Mm. And so just give us an insight into, you know, what got you into what you're doing now, and also what is the success? I mean, you've still talked about mindset, because mindset is very powerful, but why do you feel you are so successful, Owen?
Oh, I don't know how successful I am yet, but I
Yeah, but you're
appreciate that.
expanding. I mean, for you to be in a place to be expanding and then expanding overseas, that's a
Yeah.
measure of, one man's food, thing is another man's poison. But, I'm seeing
Mm.
it success.
Yeah, I think you've got to be obsessed in some way or another. The only people that I see make it are the ones. If I give you an example, there's a guy called Harrison who got into business a similar age to me, at a similar time to me, and he had a pretty much the same company as me, and we kind of was competing against each other at the start. We was going to these networking events. I was saying I was better than him. He was saying he was better than me. And it got to a point where he had, I think, £1,000 left in his account. He didn't make any sales for, I think, 3 to 4 months. And he just packed it in and completely gave up. I actually went into negative figures because I decided to purchase an office before I even got my first client. So I always said to myself, if I got my back against the wall, I'd be able to
Mm,
get myself out of any situation. And it's kind of that saying, oh, I don't know if you've heard the saying, if you've got a gun to your head, would you sell, £1 million worth of whatever? And I thought, well, if I put myself in a situation where I'd be really embarrassed if I didn't manage to sell a website, for example, I always believed in myself that I could do it. And you've got to have that
mm,
belief that you can do it. And if you don't have that belief, then don't bother. And I think if you have the self-confidence to be able to speak to anyone and introduce yourself to anyone, all you really have to do, if you're in a business to business company, is create an offer and just go out and network. And the more you network, the more people you get introduced to, the more potential clients you're going to meet. And once you can position yourself, because you start off as a freelancer, I was Owen's websites when I started. Once you get your first couple of clients in, you should then position
mm,
yourself as a company. And that's when I called it Becks and Clates. And then it wasn't, Owen designing a website. It's Becks and Clates is designing a website.
yes,
And you can see you've got a development team, you've got this team. Um, so I think you've just got to be obsessed with what you do. And you've got to
absolutely.
be able to network efficiently and not give up. And I see a lot of people that don't make a sale after 3, 4 months and then they give up. Whereas they might have been 1 month away from a £10,000 deal. And in
Mm,
my case, that was the situation. And I spoke to a guy called Tom Kelton, who's the CEO of Pentara. He went 7 months without making a sale. And then in his eighth month, he made a 10 grand a month deal purely from just cold calling, him and two mates. And now Pentara hires 50 plus people and they're turning over about £4 million a year. So it's all about just not giving up because you never know what's. People give up when they're right on the edge of being successful, but they just don't know it. So
I don't
don't
know.
ever
Yeah,
give up.
yeah. And there's that saying also, Owen, of fake it until you make it. Um,
Mm.
and you talk about networking. And so, what would you also say are other sort of valuable attributes that people need to have and what they need to be as they move forward? I mean, I know in my world, exercise is important, meditation, just being able to exercise, that's a given because that helps me mentally, spiritually, physically, psychologically, all those things. So what is it for you, Owen?
Mm. I think the most important attributes in terms of what a successful entrepreneur has, the ability to have resilience when things are going wrong, I think that is the most crucial. There's a quote that Elon Musk has said, and it's something like having a startup company is like chewing glass and staring into the abyss. I think that's a pretty good quote from him because it is pretty much like that for the first 4, 5, 6, 7 months because you're putting in work and effort 12, 16-hour days sometimes and you see zero results for nearly half a year. It's exhausting. And you've got to have the resilience and you've got to have the self-belief that you're going to be able to overcome that. And
Mm,
I always, you've just got to believe in yourself. That's the bottom line. And if you don't believe in yourself, I don't think it'll happen. And I think that comes back to, like you said, exercising. I've always stayed fit and healthy. So I feel good in my body. I feel good when I'm speaking to people, which helps with my confidence. And
absolutely.
the ability to speak to people as well. I think that is crucial, especially if you're in a business where it's only you in the beginning. You've got to be able to sell yourself and your company. And I see a lot of tech guys start businesses by themselves and they don't know how to speak to people. And they build a great product, but then they sit at home and wonder why they're not making any sales. Or they go to a networking event and stand in a corner and then they come to me and say, how do you make sales at events? I speak to every single person. And I, the attributes, I'd say the main three, resilience,
Hmm.
obsession, and I honestly think you've got to be a bit extroverted in networking situations. But then there's also self-belief. There's so many different attributes. It's really difficult to actually narrow down a few that are
Mm,
key. Because honestly, I think there's probably a list of 100 that you've got to have, a solid 50 plus of them. Um, yeah,
But I think one of the key ones is resilience, because without that, and you talked about not just having this insatiable desire, but you've got to be obsessed, because
yeah,
if you're not obsessed and you don't have resilience, the times when you've been up 24 hours a day, you still got to keep going. You've got to get a proposal in, you've got to get something over the
mm,
line. You've got to have that resilience when your body's tired, but you know that you need to work out. There's a difference between being tired and being weary, how you push through that.
mm,
And there's when family stuff happens and you've got to show up in that space, but you also got something to get over the line. So resilience, you're on your knees, it's late night, all those things, plus, like you said, the myriad of other things that you have to balance and manage in between. And so
yeah.
tell us a bit now about tell us a little bit more about this expansion that's going on in your world. So not just the UK, but now also overseas. What
Yeah.
does that like, and what is that looking like for you and your business, Owen?
So we're actually going to be expanding to New York. So we're getting a space over there. It's quite a small space, and we're going to be hiring one employee. And the reason why we're going over there is because we've got very close ties with Seed Legals, which is quite a large company based in London, and they're expanding to New York as well. So they've already got two staff members over there. They're doing really well. And I'm quite close with the CEO. CEO is Anthony Rose, and he built BBC iPlayer. So this guy is, big, big guy. And he's essentially opened the door for us to liaise with his sales team, and we're going to be offering them sales software. So they're essentially going to be upselling us at all the events that they host and so on. So it's kind of like this partnership deal with Seed Legals. It's well worth it for me because all I need is one or two contracts and I'll pay for a staff member and an office as well. So it's fairly low risk for me. And then also, we've got a contract with Neom, which is the mega city in Saudi Arabia. So I'm sending over a videographer to, he's essentially just editing on site for a year. So he's just on a camp over there. But off the back of that, we're going to get a small office. So when he's on his breaks over the weekend, he can go there and chill out. But we're going to try and get a lot more contracts there because the money that the Saudi Arabians have
Yeah.
is stupid.
Insane. It's
Um,
insane. Yeah.
yeah. And then we're also going to be, we've just took on an international business consultant called Bob Spence, and he was the ex-sales director of Coops Bank. He's going to get us in there with 5 countries in Europe. And one of them, the main one, is actually Bulgaria. And a lot of people overlook Bulgaria because they don't think the economy is that big. There's actually a few companies in there that are huge, that are massive prospects for us. And
Mm.
because no one really looks at Bulgaria for expansion, we're going to be kind of the outliers and one of the only UK companies over there. I've also got a Bulgarian staff member, and I'm speaking at DigiPay conference in front of 1,000 financial companies. So that's going to massively help us expand there.
Mhm.
Honestly, we're going to be going global. We'll probably be in about 10 different countries within the next 3 years. So it's yeah, we've got big international expansion plans.
Brilliant, brilliant. And winding down, Owen, is there anything else you want to add to this journey, or to add to where you're going and how you're feeling, and um and some of the things to look out for as well as you are
Mm.
on the rise,
Yeah.
how do you keep your space? How do you protect your space, Owen? How do you protect your world?
I think something I always think of is you become an average of the 5 people you're around the most. And if I look at the 5 people I'm around the most, for a start, I've just turned 19 years old. I'm mainly hanging around with 50-year-olds, 40-year-olds. They're a lot more mature than people my own age. And I think it just helps you articulate yourself better. It helps you get into better networks because they've got a lot more experience in life in general. They know a lot more people. And they've got a lot more experience in social situations and about emotions. And I think young people should try to speak to more mature people if they can. And I'd also encourage young people to take more risks because a lot of young people, they sit at home and they don't really, they sit at home and they think there's opportunities going to come to them when
Mm,
really you've got to go out and make your own opportunities.
yeah.
So I just I want to encourage all these young people to believe in themselves because I didn't believe in myself for a very long time. And the moment I switch my mindset, your life completely changes. And you can switch it overnight. It's all about just
What you want.
self-confidence comes from within. It's nothing external that can really change that. And I
Mm.
do genuinely believe you can change your personality type overnight because it's pretty much what I did. So yeah.
And what was, I mean, and I did say we were winding down, but what was that moment? What was there a trigger? What was the moment, Owen, when you thought, things have to be different?
It's actually quite deep this. So when I was about 14 years old, I had quite a strange experience. So I had I won't go into the details, but I had about 20 minutes of my life where I thought I was paralyzed. Now, I know that's quite crazy. Um,
Mm.
so
What?
yeah, so I won't go into the details, but within that 20 minutes, essentially, I was conscious, but I couldn't move my body, couldn't really do anything apart from blink, couldn't even move my tongue or my mouth. And I thought I wouldn't, like, all sorts of stuff goes through your mind. It's such a weird experience. And I used to have, I wouldn't not call it at all anxiety or anything like that.
Mm.
I used to panic quite a lot and get worried quite a lot when I was younger, much younger. And up until about the age of 14, after I had that experience, I think when you have a near-death experience,
Mm.
you kind of lose the worries. I don't really know exactly what it was for me. I still don't understand it. But ever since then, I just wasn't scared of anything. And I think it's you become a lot more of a risk taker when something like that happens to you because you think, well, I could die tomorrow, so why not take the risk? And also, you take a lot more opportunities. I'd turn a lot of things down, an opportunity to go to Spain or a trip, things like that. I'd turn it down. Now, if I get any of those opportunities, I'm on it
Go
straight
for it.
away because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Mm.
And I like people that take risks and take opportunities because they're the people you need to surround yourself with because they're the ones that will achieve a lot of things. Um, and I'd say that the second thing was when I understood the concept of trading your time for money compared to trading your money for someone else's time. When I understood that concept, that's when I started making some serious money. Um, and yeah, I mean, we had our biggest month last month, so things are going really well now. And also, I read a lot of books about manifesting and positive thinking,
Excellent.
things
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, you can see it. You
But
can
yeah,
see it in your
there's
energy field. You can see, because I deal with energy as well on the other side, and you can just sense there is almost like your ancestors are speaking through you, Owen, because you're 19, but there is this
yeah,
deep sense of knowing self that not even
yeah,
people my age would ever attain. So,
mm,
and I get your experience about um, being paralyzed and all you can blink. I had that about 2 years ago.
really,
Um,
wow,
and I couldn't move anything. They had to
yeah,
hold my head. And all I can bring, and I just remember my son in like saying to me, mum, and I couldn't reach out. But I
mm,
also, on a sort of energetic level, I'm not going to go too deep with this stuff now, but I knew on
yeah,
a energetic level what it meant. And I
yeah,
found out what it meant. So I'm just wishing you all the best. I don't even need to wish you all the best because you're already on your way.
mm. Can
And
I
I
ask you
just
one question?
You can indeed.
Can I interview you on a podcast?
You can. Would love
Yeah,
to. You're very deep. You were very deep. You can see it in your eyes as well. I mean, I'll edit this bit out because it's fluff. But you
yeah,
can see in your eyes. And I also do believe that age is nothing but a number because I
yeah,
do believe there are certain people that are here and we have a purpose. They all talk about many are called but few are chosen. So
yeah,
but you get
yeah,
it. So I'm gonna take this bit out, but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
'cause I can see it in your eyes. There's a depth in there that not a lot of people will attain, no matter how much they work, no matter how much they visualize or dream. But not to say that people can't be successful as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, like I said, cut that bit. So yeah,
Well, I enjoyed that. Thank you for that. I was
all the best. And yeah, you are an inspiration and you're a leader,
Thank
you
you for
know.
that. Thank you for that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I've been talking to Owen Clater and wishing you all the best in New York. And I'm going to be following you on your socials. Yeah.
Perfect.
Thank you. Have a good time. Take care. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to click the bell icon for notifications on future videos. Thank you for watching.